So I had the idea to just go check out the protest. It was mentioned in the news and on social media that there would be a protest. I just thought I'd go walk down to the city center and see what was happening in terms of the intensity. I stopped at a restaurant and I met these college kids who were studying business here, and they told me they were going to check out the protest and that I should come with them. So that's what I did. That's usually how I meet people. I just say hello and ask them where they're from around the city. It's been really easy to make friends that way here in Nepal. I find the local people actually quite friendly. The level of English is quite high, and people are curious and not just respectful, but they also like exchanging information with people from outside and getting to know what's going on in the world and about different cultures also. Our first interaction was a line of army people that were blocking the road and rerouted us to a different street, and we had to walk an extra 20 minutes to reach where the protest was happening. At first, there was a ton of motorcycle gangs or like groups with flags and tons of honking and everyone just getting riled up. And then we walked even further and there was the standoff with the Nepali police force. And this is like one of the beginning standoffs of the first day of the protest. I didn't know what to expect. Overall, with protests, it's usually non-lethal defense from the police, and they use rubber bullets and tear gas. So I went in pretty cautiously. Upon arriving at the view of the standoff, there was an ambulance on fire, I believe, some kind of vehicle on fire behind the cops. And then the front line of protesters. There was a push and a pull going on, which I got some footage. The cops started initiating the tear gas, and that's when things got kind of wild. There was a hotel that started getting rocks thrown at it, and a bunch of the windows got busted. The protest carried on for hours, and this is when I noticed people getting shot. And I didn't get any clear footage of this, I don't think, but people were getting carried out of the front line, and it felt kind of abnormal to me because usually if someone gets shot by a rubber bullet, they can walk or they can run away themselves. But seeing people carried off started to worry me because I didn't know if people were actually getting shot, what was actually happening at this point. There was a ton of tear gas bombardment. Overall, I commend Gen Z for going hard with no weapons and no defenses, just pure heart and pure truth guiding them to do what they feel is right, which is speak up for all this nonsense that's happening in politics in general. So I got separated from these guys. After going on the bridge and filming from the bridge and getting a mixture of footage, I decided to head back and call it a day. I just needed to rest. I had a lot of sun. It was super hot that day, and I got a bit of tear gas in my mouth, my eyes. That stuff burns. I don't know how bad it is for you, but definitely it's not enjoyable, and it stings even if you're kind of far away and you don't get completely struck, but if you're a little bit away, it's still pretty intense. Day 2 is September 9th. Of the protest. I woke up, checked out all this news and information that had come in overnight about other things going on, about how many people had actually been shot that day. The death toll was already at 9 or 15 by the second morning. And so at that point I understood they were using real bullets and they were shooting students in the chest and head. They were directed to do this. This is not by accident. And this is where the potential like other third party or other groups that were involved in instigating this protest, they're the ones that broke into these buildings and lit certain things on fire and burned certain things specifically out of instruction. The current prime minister, he then fled that day, and a bunch of government officials also bounced out. Some of them got captured and dragged through rivers. There's footage of all of this if you just search this stuff on TikTok. It's crazy. But again, this Uprising group that's more violent, they were using this Gen Z cover to instigate all these other activities that Gen Z was never intending to be involved in or labeled for doing. Second day protest was at Singha Durbar, and I went there with the same intention: stay safe, stay aware, and just see what's going on. Maybe I could get some coverage or some video. It was even hotter and sunnier that day. Originally, I went with my friend Shovet, and we were gonna cover it together, and we got close to the front line, and then some tear gas got launched, and some students got shot, and then we got separated, running back and forth between this frontline activity. And I almost walked back. I started walking back because I feel like I had my fill, and I'm just a visitor here. I don't know what I'm doing. I wasn't protesting. This isn't my country. I just try to be respectful and observant, and hopefully meet people who can tell me more about what's going on, and inform me as a visitor, as someone not from this culture. I don't know this history, so I'm just kind of present and curious, and I just ask people because I don't really know. And at some point I just had a change in my mind. I was like, I'm just gonna go back and really try to get as close to this feeling as I can, and really get some coverage, really like bring some voice to what's happening for the people outside of Nepal, because algorithms only reach so far, and a lot of Nepali people are only reaching in their country, and they're sharing in Nepali language of all these finer details. So I hope to be a bridge to share to a larger audience in my algorithm outside of Nepal, in the US, and in Western English-speaking countries, so you guys have a better idea of what's happening here now. There was more shooting, and at some point the protesters pushed the gate of Singha and I guess the police fled at that point, and they stormed the gate and took over, and immediately started setting fire to things. And this is where I think another group or other people are involved, because it just felt so synchronized. Like, they stormed the gate, everyone started walking in, people started setting fires, and then there was like a celebration at the front of the building. And by the time I got there was already a massive bonfire, and there was smoke starting to come out of the building, and people were just throwing things out of the windows, and just full ransack of the whole situation. That's when I made that video that got like 500,000 views, acting like aloof because I was in shock. I didn't really know what to say. I just was literally like, wow, we're in a revolution. I was overwhelmed with this feeling that I can't even explain right now, and it's taken me days to integrate all of this, and I haven't felt like speaking for days because I've just been reflecting on the mass amount of change and stuff that's been happening each day. It's overwhelming, you guys. At that point, I didn't feel in danger. I was slightly worried that the police were gonna come rushing back, or like sneak attack, but like the whole premises of Singha got cleared, and it was just protesters going crazy. Everyone was dancing, celebrating already. There's people on the roof of the gate, and this feeling of freedom just raining freedom in the air. After shooting a bunch of this, my phone actually died, so I started shooting with my camera, and then my energy kind of dropped, and I felt like I needed to go back and rest. Got back to my hotel and just watched the news pour in, talked to some local friends, found out more and more information, and just kind of started having this information overload. And I just spent the next 2 days like resting and kind of recovering and watching my stuff go viral, wondering what is happening, and just seeing how my own reality and the reality of the world we're all in can just change, and is constantly changing much more rapidly at this rate, or at this time, than any of us are really used to, or could expect, or could prepare for. This is what I find interesting in Nepali culture. Like, people have given things back that were stolen. People have apologized for certain things. On the ground level, there's a lot of handwork. People are literally cleaning the streets and making amends with the destruction that has happened on behalf of the Gen Z movement that is genuine and wholeheartedly caring about each other. This is the difference between a lot of countries and a lot of cultures in this stressful situation. I've seen so much person-to-person care here, and it really is about community and culture and the Nepali people as a whole. I really don't know what to say beyond what I've said, and but Jai, Nepal, namaste. Thank you so much for being you, for hosting me, and for showing the world what is possible, and for being strong, for being strong-hearted, for being strong in your culture, and for being loving to everybody. I've had such a contrast of experiences from high and low, from dark to light, from peaceful to chaotic. And I'm going to share that in a big thank you Nepal recap video in the coming weeks following this one. So, yeah, subscribe and like if you want to stay tuned for that.